Welcome to SVG-TV's news for Friday, December 12th, 2025. I'm Triska Campbell with the details. A capacity building project aimed at strengthening inclusive education and supporting students with special education needs at the Fairhall Government School officially concluded today with a closing ceremony on the school compound. Over the course of the project, teachers, education officers, and parents were equipped with new knowledge and practical skills to help create inclusive and supportive learning environments at school and at home. As part of the initiative, the Fairhall Government School was also outfitted with new special education resources designed to enhance both teaching and learning, ensuring that students with diverse abilities can participate meaningfully in classroom activities. The project was led by Akeem Rada of the Include You Sports Academy in Barbados and was funded by the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, whose support focused on strengthening community-based educational development. In her welcoming remarks, Principal Angela Kidd Roberts acknowledged that while the project presented many challenges, the school community rose to meet them. She noted that the initiative helped improve the skills, knowledge, and confidence of teachers while strengthening the social and academic abilities of students.
The project has enabled us to build a more responsive school culture. The workshops, training sessions, mentorship activities, and resource allocation garnered under this initiative has not only enriched our professional capacities, but have also inspired new ways of thinking and teaching in a diverse classroom. Today's ceremony is therefore both a celebration and a reflection of our journey. As we proceed today with today's program, I encourage each of us to carry forward the spirit of growth, collaboration, and innovation that has guided us throughout this journey. Let us continue working hand in hand to build a school where we can embrace all of our learners.
Lead teacher on the project, Kimisha Ince, provided an overview of the program, explaining that since the school's establishment in 2008, its vision has remained consistent to provide a place where every child, regardless of ability, background, or circumstance, can thrive in a supportive environment.
By 2011, a decision was made to develop a program that would address these needs more intentionally. The program began with pull-out sessions and remediation for students who required additional support. In 2013, the school welcomed its first formally diagnosed student with autism, marking Fairhall Government School's first significant step toward inclusive education. In 2018, under the leadership of former principal, Mrs. Denise Huggins, we expanded our services through the introduction of our secondary component with a grade 7 class. These students presented with significant learning difficulties. Some were diagnosed, some were not, but all deserving of opportunity. The goal of this program has always been to provide individualized, strengths-based support with the hope of reintegrating these students into mainstream secondary schools when possible. To date, 2 cohorts have completed the program, and several students have transitioned successfully into mainstream settings.
Ince added that the school has taken intentional steps towards building a robust transitional program focused on life skills and employability. In 2021, Fairhall partnered with the Glen Resource Center to ensure that students in grades 7 to 9 could access TVET training and woodwork, food preparation, and small appliance repairs. Students are also engaged in job job shadowing opportunities aligned with their interests and career goals, giving them a valuable real-world experience.
Still, this program needs strengthening. And today, I appeal to our stakeholders to join us in enhancing the support we offer these secondary students. In the not-too-distant future, we hope to establish a resource room on the school compound where these students can engage in similar skills training sessions without having to leave the premises. It was during this ongoing work that former Chief Education Officer, Ms. Luann Gilchrist, recognized our commitment to inclusion and recommended Fairhall Government School as a beneficiary of the Fairhall Capacity Building Project. Through the generous funding of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, our teachers receive specialized training in special educational needs. These sessions, facilitated by Mr. Akeem Rudder of Include You, Barbados, were tailored to our Caribbean context and carefully designed to meet the needs of both our teachers and students. The training covered awareness of various exceptionalities, inclusive evidence-based teaching practices such as universal design for learning and differentiated instruction, behavior management, and the development of basic individualized education plans.
Delivering remarks at the ceremony, newly appointed Minister of Education, Vocational Training, Innovation and Digital Transformation, Philip Jackson, emphasized that true inclusivity requires strong and active partnerships. He stressed the importance of collaboration between home, the school, and the wider community to ensure that every child has the opportunity to learn, grow, and succeed.
Only as we partner together consistently with each other can we really achieve the best results for our students. People who care about our education system appreciate that at the center of what we must do, empathy has to be the foundational and the guiding principle. So as your Minister of Education, Vocational Training, Innovation, Digital Transformation, and Information, we want to build an inclusive service to the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines based on empathy. We have to look out for each other. To build a strong St. Vincent and the Grenadines that is inclusive of all, we have to be our brothers and sisters keepers. Parents have to look out not only for their own children, but for their neighbors' children and the community's children. The strong has to help the weak. The well-resourced have to help those who have need and lack. Those who consider themselves elites have to spend the time in teamwork to help our disadvantaged students.
Energy has officially been added to the Ministry of Health in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, a change that has been widely welcomed, particularly for its potential to expand the use of renewable energy within the health sector. Health Promotions Officer Shanika John said that all existing components of the ministry remain in place, but noted that the transition to include energy is now being implemented. According to John, integrating energy into its ministry's mandate is expected to bring a meaningful improvements to health services across the country.
The major addition to us has been the Department of Energy, the unit of energy which Mr. Peters and his team would run. And I guess as we go by, you hear from him, you interact with him a little bit more and his team. And we will definitely be sharing some additional information about who they are, how they function, and where persons can find them. And they're really focusing on renewable energy in various spaces across St. Vincent and the Grenadines, but more so for the public sector. So with the addition to the Ministry of Health, because I think a lot of persons could imagine that the Ministry of Health would use a lot of energy. And so I think it's also important for us to try to find ways in which we could also conserve energy and ways that we could implement systems that could help us to use renewable energy, especially in our facilities, hospital services, and so forth. And I mean, with everything that's been happening, Johnny, every now and then we get a little blackout here that impacts our system. The fact that we get these hurricanes and storms that would disrupt our systems. And I think it's really good for us to be going in the direction of how can the Ministry of Health more or less use renewable energy and how can we conserve a little bit more on our energy. But
John also noted that with the Christmas season approaching, energy consumption typically increases in homes and businesses. She emphasized that this is an ideal time to remind the public about the importance of using energy safely and efficiently, especially as the ministry strengthens its focus on energy-related education and sustainability.
Just about the Ministry of Health, in particular with the new addition, we're also going to be doing for household, for consumers. For you as an individual, you have your home, you may have a business, etc. Are you getting the best use of the energy that you can get? I know it's the Christmas season and we really want to put up all of our lights and all of these different fixtures and so forth. Are you getting the best in terms of the purchases that you do for your refrigerators, your deep freeze and so forth? And these are some of the things that we really want Mr. Peters and his team to unpack to help persons to make better decisions. It has been a couple of days now since, I think it's probably almost a week, since we've been introduced to our new minister, Honorable Daniel Cummins. Right now, he is just about doing all of his assessments, groundwork in terms of the different departments and units, just to try to get a sense of where we are and, of course, guide us in the direction in which way we should be going. So I guess later on, hopefully for the new year, or maybe before the year is out, he will be able to join us so that we could just get a sense of his own vision and perspective for the Ministry of Health, Wellness and Energy.
John further stated that early meetings and engagements with the newly appointed Minister of Health and Energy, Daniel Cummins, have been productive. She said that the discussions reflect a shared commitment to improving the delivery of health services and advancing energy initiatives throughout St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
So far, we've been pretty good. We've met with all heads of units and programs, of which I was a part of, and the discussion was very much engaging. The vision in terms of where the ministry is supposed to go is more or less in keeping with what most of us at the technical head would like to see as well. Okay. So we're definitely looking forward to working with him and to working with the cabinet as well in terms of how we can make St. Vincent and the Grenadines a healthier place for all of us. And that has really been our goal. So we are very much on board in terms of the scope, in terms of what we're doing, in terms of our functions and responsibilities. The Permanent Secretary and our Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Keyser, and all of the other persons, Dr. Roger Duncan and so forth, we are definitely seeing how we can pull together all of the components in health, just to give them a very clear idea in terms of what we've been having, where we're at, because we've made significant progress over the couple of years, and where we need to go in terms of that. What else do we need to add? Because we do also have some gaps and some challenges that we would have been experiencing as well.
Prime Minister Dr. Godwin Friday and the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Foreign Trade, Foreign Investment and Diaspora Affairs, Dwight Fitzgerald Bramble, welcomed on Thursday Deputy Chief of Mission at the Embassy of the United States of America to Barbados and the Eastern Caribbean, Karen Sullivan, during a courtesy call. A news release says the meeting offered an opportunity for Sullivan to extend congratulations to the newly elected Prime Minister and to reaffirm the United States' commitment to continued strong and constructive bilateral cooperation. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Foreign Trade, Foreign Investment and Diaspora Affairs says it anticipates deepening the long-standing partnership between St. Vincent and the Grenadines and the United States with a shared focus on advancing mutual prosperity, security and the well-being of both nations and their peoples. Newly appointed Minister of Fisheries and Climate Change Resilience, Conroy Huggins, held his first formal meeting with the local fishermen yesterday. According to President of the National Fisherfolk Organization, Winsbert Harry, the engagement was productive and well received, signaling a positive start to the minister's relationship with the sector. Harry said the session allowed fishers to raise priority concerns and begin charting a path for improved collaboration between government and the industry stakeholders. He added that the open dialogue was encouraging, especially as fishers continue to navigate the twin challenges of rising operational costs and the impacts of climate change on marine resources.
And I feel very happy that there is progress that will be made going forward within the fishing industry. I know there was a lot of challenges in the past, but we will not be focusing on the past. We in the fishing industry now will be focusing on the future and how we can build the industry together. Because I must say, being a fisherman and the president of the national organization, I have to welcome the new ministry. And most of the persons who attend was very pleased. They was interactive with the minister. They speak with the minister. They had a good feedback with the minister. And most fisher folks leave the consultation meeting with joy in the face. And we would like to see more of this happen because we do not want to see too much of a top-down approach towards the industry. And the start that we see this minister has bring is that he is involving every stakeholder into consultation to how do we build the fishing industry go forward.
The National Fisherfolk Organization president emphasized that fishers are optimistic because with the establishment of a dedicated ministry, they expect more consistent engagement and targeted policy support for the fishing industry. He noted that several major projects are on their wish list, including improvements to landing sites, upgrades to safety at sea systems, and greater investment in climate resilience infrastructure.
In some of the fishing communities, the FAD project, they still have some issues with the agriculture input warehouse fish market. We still have that on the table as one of the on the agenda in the way how they manage and the way how they treat the fisher folks. We also had the discussion in seeing how the Lomans Bay and washroom facility that can be on the first quarter in 2026 to see how we could get the fisher folks having a washroom facility in Lomans Bay. I think it has been overdue now. It has been going in over 3 years, and plus it has been on the border. And the minister has given full commitment that he will walk along with the MP for West Kingston, Mr. Daniel Cummins, so they will go into a collaboration into getting this facility up and running for the fisher folk.
Harry added that the organization looks forward to continued dialogue with Minister Huggins and hopes that this first meeting signals a renewed commitment to strengthening the fisheries sector, supporting livelihoods and ensuring the long-term sustainability of the nation's marine resources. Over 79 farmers and other stakeholder representatives operating in the Richmond area in Agricultural Region 1 participated in a stakeholder consultation on irrigation infrastructure development on Thursday. The consultation was held at the Fisheries Learning Resource Center and forms part of the initiative by the United Nations Food and Agricultural Organization of the FAO through its sub-regional office for the Caribbean, FAO-SLC, to support national efforts to strengthen climate resilience agriculture and promote sustainable water management by improving irrigation infrastructure and related management practices. The current mission is in the second phase of assessment that is focused on preparing a robust pre-feasibility proposal and order of magnitude budget for one 100-acre pilot irrigation scheme in the Richmond Valley. A news release says the Deputy Chief Agricultural Officer Colville King told the farmers that the proposed initiative would aid in increasing production and productivity, reduce the cost of production, and also increase competitiveness of the country's produce. FAO Irrigation Infrastructure Specialist Emiliano Napre presented the proposed irrigation concept and invited feedback. There was a consensus among stakeholders in support of the proposed irrigation project, and they also shared the perspectives to better define project area and scope, as well as identify and mitigate any identified risk. The release says among the concerns identified were the potential impact, if any, on the treachery fishing, the possibility that a single water source may be insufficient, and hence the need to explore more than one water sources. The Minister of Agriculture, Forestry and Rural Transformation, Israel Bruce, also attended the consultation. In his remarks, Minister Bruce thanked the farmers for their warm welcome and emphasized the government's focus on the green economy as one of its 4 pillars of development. The minister highlighted a number of priorities that would be implemented, that would be immediately addressed, including marketing locally, regionally, and internationally, and pricing. Tightening legislation, including stiffer penalties to address pretty larceny. Revamping the farmer ID registration system following a receipt of a comprehensive report from the Farmer Support Company, which currently manages the system. A robust infrastructure program to address the poor conditions of feeder roads. Leveraging science and technology to increase youths and students' involvement in agriculture. Ongoing consultations with farmers on various issues. Farmers also shared their frustration and need for solutions on a number of issues, including low produce prices, the imbalance of project investments, with most going to a windward side of the country and little to the leeward side. The need to regularize land titles, the need to update compensation rates for crop damage, and the need to move away from classroom training to more practical exercises. In other news, Ambassador of the Republic of Cuba to St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Carlos Ernesto Rodriguez Echeverry, paid a courtesy visit today to the new Minister of Health, Wellness and Energy, Daniel Cummins. In a meeting that reaffirmed the mutual commitment to strengthening medical collaboration between the two nations, a news release says that during the meeting held in cordial and constructive atmosphere, both parties reviewed the status of ongoing healthcare cooperation programs with the emphasis on the work of the Cuban Medical Brigade, which has been present in the country for more than 2 decades. They highlighted the contributions of Cuban specialists in key areas such as primary care, surgery, internal medicine, diagnostic imaging, and ophthalmology, as well as positive impact of community health initiatives. The release says Minister Cummings expressed his gratitude for the valuable and sustained support that Cuba has provided to the Vincentian health system, underscoring that the presence of Cuban professionals has been decisive in improving public access to essential services. He also expressed interest in expanding cooperation, particularly in human resource training and in emerging areas of public health. Ambassador Rodriguez Echeverry reiterated the Cuban government's willingness to continue strengthening these ties, stressing that medical cooperation is a genuine expression of solidarity and brotherhood between both peoples. The meeting also addressed the future opportunities, including possible initiatives in telemedicine, academic exchanges, and joint programs for prevention and control of chronic diseases. The meeting also attended by the PS of Health, Nurse Gittins, and head of the Cuban Medical Brigade and SVG, Dr. Ulises Calistillo Sanz, concluded with a shared willingness to maintain fluid dialogue and advance new initiatives that contribute to the well-being of the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, thereby consolidating one of the strongest pillars of the bilateral relationship. Embassy of Cuba in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Corporal of Police Sean Roach has announced that a series of police-led activities will focus on sensitizing schools and communities as crime levels continue to rise. Speaking on WeFM yesterday, Corporal Roach said increased community outreach has become essential in addressing current trends. Corporal Roach noted that a recent visit to the Layu was particularly memorable for the team, as the community spirit remained alive and vibrant, demonstrating strong engagement with officers.
Have been marketed on the police Facebook page. We're having a series of events for the past 2 weeks that will be focusing on where we target the schools. And we also would have some showcases in different communities. In fact, last night I think was a very successful program where we had at Layu, where we did a community outreach and showcase. And the turnout was like, we could say close to 200 people from the Layu residents came out.
Wow.
And we had like children singing and different people coming out and expressing the Christmas cheer. But one of the key aspects that really stood out to me, although there were a lot of speeches, the message inside the speech, they really identified that there is an issue in the community and they know where the issue come from. And I'm pleased to see the community spirit with Layu, because you could see they're very together.
He explained that the selection of communities participating in the initiative was guided by a detailed analysis of crime patterns across various areas, allowing the police to better target their interventions.
One of the reasons why Layu was selected is because we identified that there was a lot of recent murders in Layu. So we really wanted to address that from a community standpoint to bring some community ties with the police. Well, stronger community ties. So with that said, it was tailored in such a way to allow the community to come together to, one, identify that yes, there's a problem, and two, you need to collaborate with the police in order to help address it. So if you know something, at least say something. In fact, we even incorporated like a QR code at the event. So if they didn't want to speak directly to the police, they could scan the code and leave some feedback. And this same link to the QR code, which is a Google form, is also on the police page if people are interested in leaving any feedback to the series of programs that we're having throughout the 2 weeks, which actually started in November.
Okay.
So it's more than 2 weeks, really.
All right.
Corporal Roach added that while the 2-week outreach program is already underway, the annual crime prevention exhibition will still take place as scheduled. He described the ongoing initiatives as a more direct, on-the-ground method of engaging with residents.
As we mentioned, we have, for the month of December, we have 2 weeks of activities. So yesterday, which was Wednesday, we had the showcase in Layu. And the next week, we're having the showcase in Kingstown. We wanted to diversify the outreach. So instead of Kingston would always be a must. But in order to reach out to other communities as well, we tried this approach instead.
Okay.
The corporal reiterated that strengthening partnerships between communities and law enforcement remains key to reducing crime and improving public safety.